But first of all, some film recommendations for your half term. This time last year, couldn't get in a cinema for love nor money, could you? Because of national lockdown. Now they're all back and open again. Our movie critic from Stratford-upon-Avon, James Luxford, is here once again with us this morning. Hi, James.
Good morning.
It is, nuts to think about that, isn't it? When this time last year, you couldn't get in. They just weren't open, cinemas, were they? And here we are now, 1 year on, all back up, open again.
It really is. And, I think a lot of films recently have been doing very well in terms of the box office. Things like, obviously, Spider-Man, Scream, and a couple of films we're going to talk about in a moment. And it really is something that I didn't think would happen. This time last year, we were unsure whether some cinemas would ever open again. And now we've got to see to a point really where cinemas are doing very well, that people are coming back slowly but surely, and movies are being seen on the big screen again, which is great.
And so your good this weekend is what?
My good this weekend is The Duke, out Friday. It's a comedy starring Jim Broadbent and Helen Mirren, based on the 1960s true story about a man from Newcastle who held the government to ransom over a stolen painting.
Kempton Bunton, you were charged that on the 21st of March 1961, you stole from the National Gallery a priceless portrait of the Duke of Wellington by Francisco José de Goya.
Not very good, is it?
Straight away, when you hear those two names, Helen Mirren and Jim Broadbent, you get an idea of the level, the class, and also this is going to be a bit fun, I guess, as well, is it?
Yes, I thought it was very funny and, just a fascinating story. As you say, I think Jim Broadbent is just really good in anything he's in, really, but particularly good here as kind of a charismatic old cabbie who gets in over his head. It's just one of these stories where sort of good intentions goes awry, I think. And, what can you say? Dame Helen Mirren is terrific as his long-suffering wife. I think this is one of those very gentle British comedies that I think will prove a crowd pleaser. One of the demographics, I suppose, that have stayed away from the cinema for understandable reasons during the pandemic is older crowds. And I think this is something that will really appeal to them. It's very much focusing on the treatment of people over 60 in this country, which is still prevalent, still a pressing issue then as it is now. And aside from that, it's just very good fun.
The Duke opens in Coventry and Warwickshire cinemas on Friday. Looking good for that one. Not so good. Dog. Tell us a bit about this. I've seen some trailers for this and some bus sides for it. It looks very dramatic. Obviously doesn't kind of work.
No, it's Channing Tatum's directorial debut, and he also stars as a soldier who has to escort an unruly dog to his former owner's funeral.
I've been busting my ass to get my mind and my body back into a good place.
I need to get back in the game, sir.
You want to get back in the game? Prove it. Sergeant Rodriguez was a legend. Family funeral Sunday outside of Nogales. They want his dog at the funeral. You do this, and you're back in the game.
Why didn't it work?
I didn't think it was terrible. It was just very familiar and doesn't really offer anything new. Channing Tatum, director / star, as I said, he's very charismatic, as he usually is. And I think he's stuck in a film that we've just seen before, this kind of buddy comedy, this sort of, I suppose you'd compare it to something like Turner and Hooch a little bit, where the comedy comes from the miscommunication between the man and the dog, but it's just something we've seen before. There are too many jokes that are too familiar, and I think the message about how the US treats its veteran population is a little bit crammed in there, and feels a little bit forced. So not quite for me.
and obviously doesn't achieve what the Duke clearly does when it certainly comes to dealing with older audiences there. Let's move to your on-demand pick then. This is something that is on the BBC iPlayer now, can be enjoyed over the half-term holidays. I love this. Let's explain what you picked here and why.
My on-demand is Madagascar 2 Escape to Africa on iPlayer now. It's an animated sequel which follows the gang to Africa in search of the long-lost parents of the lion Alex.
Where are we? San Diego. This time I'm 40% sure. I think it's Africa.
How? We offer only happiness and good greetings. Sorry.
And you haven't even heard Sacha Baron Cohen doing his King of the Lemurs in there as well. Always a highlight for me of the Madagascar movies. Did number 2 work as well as number 1?
I think so. It's good fun. The Madagascar movies are incredibly successful because of that great voice cast. Ben Stiller, Chris Rock, and as you mentioned, Sacha Baron Cohen in, I think, a scene-stealing role, as you say, as the King of the Lemurs. I think if you're looking for something to entertain the kids over the weekend and in the half-term, this is a great choice.
James, always good to hear from you. Our love to you in Stratford-upon-Avon, and thanks for being with us again this morning. James Luxford, our movie critic, and as ever, they're good, bad, and on-demand picks for us on BBC CWR. It's 9:33.
CWR Breakfast.